Hello, welcome to a video podcast for GCSE PE. This is my first podcast for South Molton Community College, and this podcast is on principles of training. Hopefully you'll be able to hear me properly. The TV's on, Aoife's crying in her basket, and my middle daughter Bo is upstairs having a scream and shout, and Mum is dealing with her, so hopefully you'll still be able to hear me. Okay, we'll look at this slide here. Again, a lot of these slides you've seen in PE lessons already, but the principles of training based that into a couple of areas. Okay, so the first one we're looking for is progressive overload. Now, this is where there's a gradual increase in the amount of work on the body. Okay, this means the body has to work harder, and the body adapts to its new rate. It does not mean the body becomes injured. Okay, so basically the body is pushed past its normal limits and the body adapts. So it becomes stronger, you become quicker, but your body adapts to its new environment. Okay, there's a good example down the bottom there. Increasing length of training session, or increasing number of sessions per week, will help improve the level of fitness or whatever your target is. Okay, specificity, and we've talked about this in lessons already, but the picture here is of Michael Phelps, the swimmer. And basically what this one means is that the training is specific to the activity you are doing. So for example, with Michael Phelps, he'll do a lot of work in the pool, he might do a lot of weight training, he might do some flexibility training. It's unlikely he'll do a lot of running. Okay, he will do some running, maybe as a loosener if he was on a long flight in between races, things like that, but the running uses the wrong type of muscles and is the wrong technique for swimmers. They would tend to use cycling if they need to, but more than likely they'll use work in a swimming pool. Similar to say a rugby player. Okay, so rugby players will use specific types of training. So they will train on a rugby field, they will train at altitude, they will train with running and weights, they will do a bit of swimming, maybe a bit of cycling, but it's not essential that they'll go and do a different type of work that will be used in a different activity. Okay. Okay, and individual differences in needs. Okay, so we've had 3 so far. And individual differences in needs is quite key. So the picture's got Wayne Rooney and Steven Gerrard, but I mean, I believe a better description is see Steven Gerrard and somebody like Tom Cleverley. Now, Steven Gerrard looks after himself. He needs to look after his body. He's a little bit older than Tom Cleverley, so he'll have to do more flexibility work. He'll have to do possibly a little bit more fitness work. As his body gets older, it's harder to stay fit. With Tom Cleverley, because he's a young man anyway, that he'll have that natural level of ability and that natural level of fitness. So the training programs will be different. Also, someone like Tom Cleverley probably isn't quite as strong as Steven Gerrard, so Gerrard wouldn't have to do as much strength work as Tom Cleverley. But all the areas are down the side. So there's different things that come into play with individual needs. You know, age, gender, sport experience, weight. You know, people adapt their games. You look at someone like Steven Gerrard. He used to be a box-to-box midfielder. Okay, he used to do a lot of running. Now he stays in a specific position, uses knowledge to get him through the game. Okay, so that's his sporting experience coming through there. But certainly an important section that you can't forget. Okay, rest and recovery, and I've mentioned this in lessons already as well. Something that I don't think we do very well as a nation. Rest and recovery is important. You need to have rest and recovery between games and between sessions. It reduces physical fatigue, which is tiredness, helps repair damaged muscle tissue. It allows the body to improve and adapt itself. Okay, otherwise that won't happen, and injury can occur then if you don't give the body time to rest, and you replenish energy source. And down the bottom is an example of a training week. Now that's very general, but it is an example. Okay, it's worth remembering rest and recovery plays an important part. Okay, the FIT principle. A couple of years back, Mr. Finney had a good GCSE group, a lad in there called Marty Campbell, and if you go on YouTube and put in the FIT principle, Marty Campbell, he's done a song about the FIT principle. It's very important that you learn the FIT principle. Frequency, intensity, time, type. Frequency, the number of times exercise is undertaken per week. Can you increase it from 2 to 3? That will improve. Intensity, how hard you train, or the difficulty of training. If that improves, your body will adapt. That will be part of progressive overload. Time, can you increase how long a session is? Okay, so instead of half an hour, you do an hour. And type, the different types of training to make sure that one, you don't become bored, but also that you're hitting every area of that sport. So if you do nothing but cardiovascular fitness, for something like hockey, then yes, you'll be very fit for the game, but you might not be strong enough for the game. You might not have the muscular endurance, you might not have the flexibility. So there are other areas. So you need to make sure that training is specific to what you're trying to do. Okay, we're on to the last slide now. And the two main areas now with this one is reversibility and goal setting. Reversibility is basically where training stops or goes backwards. This normally happens if a player is ill or poorly or injured. Okay, it can happen if the training is incorrect. Okay, so if the training is not progressive and it doesn't produce a little bit of overload, then you won't improve. Okay, it's the same with learning. If you don't push yourself that little bit harder, you're not going to get any better. Okay, and it's the same with this. However, most of the time it normally means that a player is injured or ill, and then the effects of training sort of disappear. Goal setting is important. Okay, we do something like target setting and aspiration setting and assertive tutoring in school, but basically with goal setting you need to set goals to aim for. It improves focus, it improves motivation, and it allows you to assess your progress. Okay, and the same thing happens with fitness training. Now all of these will be in your exam. We'll talk about these more in lessons, and if you have any questions, feel free to come and see me, but these all need to be learned and they all will be in your exam.